في لقاء مع كاميرا ياهلا تحدث وزير البيئة والعمل المناخي في ولاية غرب استراليا عن مبادرات المملكة في الحفاظ على البيئة والحد من التغير المناخي السلبي، كما تحدث عن التحديات التي تواجه المملكة وغرب استراليا خاصة، وأنهما تمتلكان بيئة متشابهة. نتابع هذا اللقاء.
I think this is a remarkable initiative, and it's inspiring to plant so many trees, and I think the figure is 10 billion trees in Saudi Arabia, and I think 50 billion in the wider region. This initiative, as I understand it, is led by Saudi Arabia. It's so important for the environment. We worry about climate change, and planting trees is a very critical way of storing carbon and providing habitat for wildlife. In Australia, we have a similar issue with our landscape. We need to revegetate the landscape. We need to plant trees. We need to store carbon. And so an inspiring project, but it's one that we believe in Western Australia we can help partner Saudi Arabia. Well, I think it demonstrates that Saudi Arabia and the region is committed to the challenge of climate change. Like Saudi Arabia, Western Australia has oil and gas industries which emit carbon, and we need to respond to that challenge. So one way is going to the route of renewable energy. Another way is investing in our environment. So the more carbon we can sequester in the soil, in trees, is a very good thing. And I think it's showing the world at COP27 that this is an issue that Saudi Arabia is serious to address, and it's an issue that we are serious to address in Western Australia also. We have very similar countries, similar state as Saudi Arabia. We have a similar landscape, a similar climate, similar challenges. We need to reduce our carbon emissions also. So we've had experience in this, and it's an area I think we can share knowledge. And I go back to this point that Western Australia and Saudi Arabia are so similar. A similar sized landmass, a similar climate, a similar landscape, a similar arid conditions. So we face the same challenges, the same opportunities. And when we work together and we start to achieve results, it's an opportunity for new industries. It's an opportunity to develop new sources of power if we're addressing climate change. Hydrogen, solar, wind. These are amazing opportunities. And when you get it right, and when you get to a practical completion of these projects and this technology, the world is hungry for energy. The world is hungry for energy, and it's countries like Saudi Arabia and Australia and Western Australia which will be part of that solution. In Western Australia, we are one of the largest LNG exporters in the world. We hope to surpass that volume of exports in terms of hydrogen in the future. So we're very ambitious, and Saudi Arabia is ambitious, and I think together it's not a competitive situation. We can work together because the world needs energy. It's a fundamental foundation of civilization, energy. And I think with the critical minerals that exist in Saudi Arabia, you have West Australian mining expertise to be able to find and explore for those minerals and help mine them. We have a very big tradition and a huge mining industry in Western Australia, so we're very good at finding critical minerals and mining them, extracting them. What we want to embark on more in Western Australia is downstream processing and then into eventual battery production. And that is the way forward, I think, for Saudi Arabia too, to be able to embrace renewable energy. You know, oil and gas, we know, have a carbon footprint. Renewable energies are the way of the future, and I know through Vision 2030, Saudi Arabia wants to diversify its economy. It realises that the future of energy is changing, and so batteries are a critical part of that process. Look, I had a long conversation with His Excellency the Minister, and what we got out of that is the opportunity to go forward. He mentioned many areas of collaboration for the future, and so MOUs may come later, but I think given that the Saudi Arabia is very keen to secure food sources for food security in the future. Western Australia is a massive producer of food, whether it's wheat or livestock. So that relationship is very important, and I can see that being developed even further. So my meeting with His Excellency Minister Adel Al-Jubeir was very constructive. He gave me a lot of time, and what I found was that there was an openness and a desire to speak and to speak frankly. And he said, we talked a lot about the future and the change that is happening in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is embracing the future, and we talked about the opportunity to work together. So I think that's an exciting prospect. And it's also about being accepting of the reality of climate change, being accepting of the challenges ahead, and being open to communicate with countries like Australia and like Western Australia to help solve these problems together. My discussion with Dr. Paul Marshall was very exciting. He's an Australian who has a leadership role in the NEOM project, and it's the critical point that he made was we think about the structure, the infrastructure, the built environment of the line. But what's even more important in many ways, there's 95% of NEOM which is wilderness, which will be the natural environment. So this is, people like to concentrate on the line because it's such an impressive concept for a city of the future. It is a stunning landscape. I mean, I come from a state that has deserts and an arid landscape, but the scale of the arid landscape in Saudi Arabia is both impressive, it's beautiful, it's stunning, it's stark, and also the culture is so inviting. The food you have here is delicious, and so as an Australian visitor I've felt that it's been a wonderful adventure, and the main thing I want to repeat is whether I've visited senior ministers of your government, whether I've visited senior government officials, whether I've visited members of universities or the business community, the friendliness, the openness, the hospitality is very impressive. So it's been a wonderful trip, and I hope it helps start. It's like planting a seed of a plant. I think this trip, my visit to Saudi Arabia, has planted seeds, and we hope those trees will grow very strong and large.